to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God.
Indivisible.
With liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
And we are back. Once again, we are tucked away in the war room somewhere in the high desert of southern Idaho. And joining me, he's back. It's the Cajun Cowboy. Wait, I thought you went back
from the dead, man.
I thought you went back to Cajun country.
I pulled double duty last month. I didn't do anything. I was working.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh, like a madman.
We went like 3 weeks, and I never even called you. You never called me. I wasn't busy. You were busy.
I was busy. I did my last podcast. It looks like I'm taking on a little extra work, and that was it. Nobody heard anything from it. They're like, "What happened?"
Well, and that's the podcast.
Like,
that's the podcast you do, Forgotten American.
Right.
And I always have to think, so I always got to keep the out of there.
Well, you don't remember?
No, I always want to say the Forgotten
You're
American.
not a listener?
I am a listener. I didn't listen to the last episode, I'll tell you. I just haven't yet. So, Forgotten American, you can find it on Spotify. You can find it anywhere.
Maybe. Spotify's removing stuff.
That's right. You and Joe Rogan.
Well, they removed, 100 of his, but they removed like 10,000 others.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, that don't have a lot of hype to it, that talk about the COVID, and they just deleted them. So I hadn't even looked. I've been so busy I didn't even look to see if mine got deleted. So I'm probably there.
I wonder if any of mine got deleted.
I don't know. You don't talk about COVID, do you?
Well, we did when it was really
years ago
when
it was new.
Back in 2019.
Yeah.
Way back then. So you've been staying good though.
No, man, I'm tired.
You're earning all that extra gun money.
I ain't got time to enjoy it. I even went to the gun store the other day since it turned February, and I'm like, I told somebody, I had people email me, I'm trying to get the podcast done this month, and then I got some news today, and I'm like, I'll tell y'all what, I'm about to give it up. I'm about to walk away. So if I walk away, I'll be doing podcasts all the time.
Hey, like that, you can do yours and then come over here and do one with me.
Yeah, I'll do them. This is what I'm having for lunch.
We will do daily podcasts.
Daily podcasts. I don't know if anybody wants to hear me that much.
I don't care.
Okay. Screw them.
Yeah.
They're just the audience.
We don't care. Double their money back if they don't like it.
Double your money back. Boy,
Double
that's some customer service, man.
I know it is.
Woo!
I took your customer service model
and
I transferred it over to the Patriot Defense Podcast.
It's built on love.
It is. So you went into the gun store. Did you see any firearms that caught your eye?
I saw this new SIG. It's a
the Meta. It's not the Meta, is it? No, SIG. Oh, yeah. sorry. I'm sorry. I think you never talk about anything but Canic.
Okay.
My brain heard Canic. I'm so sorry.
Nah, it's a SIG, and they were busy, and so I'm like, y'all know how much money I spent in here? Stop what you're doing. Come see me.
I was just getting ready to ask you which gun store it was. I know now.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, anyway, it was I'm not sure what it is. And I've been so busy, I hadn't been able to look it up or keep up with anything.
Weird abomination by SIG.
It's looks like what do you call it? A cartridge?
A carbine?
Yeah. But it's so small. I'm like, it's got to be classified as a pistol. And
so it's a pistol carbine, kind of.
It's so small, though. It's got to be classified. I don't know how they classify this thing.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
But then it's got an extendable stock on it. And I'm like, how do you get away with that?
Really?
Yeah, it's like $1,900.
You gonna buy it?
9mm. I told him, come on, man, don't do 9. Give me a 10mm, I'll take it.
Yeah, we need a 10 mil like that. That'd be freaking sweet.
Oh man, it is small. It is small. It looks about the size of a Mac 10. Small.
Really?
Small. I didn't put it in my hand, so somebody's probably out there, you dumbass. But it looked, it's small, man.
Ever since we started this podcast, I've spent the entire my entire podcast years probably being called a dumbass. So don't worry about it. It is what it is, man. I'm on the radio and I forget things. I'm on my podcast and I forget things. And This isn't as easy as it looks.
Well, when you're trying to think ahead and your mouth is still talking about things you're not thinking about anymore, you flub things.
So this is just real quick. Something I was thinking of. I sent you a meme the other day. Did you get it? It's about podcasts, first time podcasters, and it says sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. Have you ever felt that doing podcasts?
I have had
Every
brilliant
podcast.
point to make, and I start out and I'm checking. I look over to see my levels, and I come back to the mic, and I'm like,
Yeah. This is
what the hell was I talking about?
doing a podcast is a real interesting undertaking. We'll just leave it at that.
It is, but it's
fun. I
yeah.
enjoy it. No, I enjoy it. Sometimes it sounds like I'm a goof, but I'm cool with it.
Well, it was my second job. Last month it turned into like my fourth job, but I might make it my full-time job.
It's kind of part of my job. I double your money back.
Yeah.
I haven't got a paycheck from it yet, but I enjoy it.
Well, it's still a job.
No, it is a job. It's what I do to get out of shoveling snow.
Well, if it's not a job, you don't get tax write-offs.
Boom. That's right. Good point.
Yeah,
point,
somebody
sir.
told me, you said that was a hobby. I'm like, no, it's a
job.
It's a job.
I clock in, I clock out.
Job. I have great aspirations for it.
Joe Rogan Jr. Yeah. Well, I was talking on the radio show on Friday, and we were talking about everything that's going on, and we talked about even Joe Rogan a little bit, right. And how they, how he's on there, and they're trying to kind of control what he says. And I explained to him that last week when Spotify came to me and offered me that kind of contract, that I had to turn him down because I wanted complete freedom.
Yeah, he can't
to say what I want to say.
I can't be caged, man.
That's right. You can't.
No,
can't cage the animal.
$100 million? You think you can lock me up for $100 million? No way.
Yeah. Throw away the key. My wife would lock me away.
I'll be in there selling vaccines. No,
my wife would lock me away for $25,000.
What's bad is all these people that are. Never mind, I ain't gonna get it. I was about to go down another.
That's okay. We got to do one of your podcasts together again.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. I did one with you, and I've never been invited back, so maybe I'm thinking that one wasn't highly rated. I
named it Lizard People.
It's crazy now I'm being associated with
you brought it up. You introduced the Lizard People. I'm like, what are you doing, man?
The look on your face was priceless when I brought it up. You really didn't have any idea where I was headed. You're like, what?
Well, see, when you're on this side, on this podcast, you're running the podcast. And you have to keep track of everything. I can just sit over here and clown and goof off, and you got to do that too. And you're like, wow, let's talk about some lizard people.
Oh man, I've never had that. I've never had that shit flow before.
Yeah,
I was flowing.
Well, you're not thinking. You don't have to think.
I don't have to look at the board. I don't have to wonder what you're gonna say.
Yeah, you don't have to. Check ear levels and all this stuff. You just everything's fine. You don't have to cue up clips and nothing. You're just ready.
Essentially, I just sat here and said, I'm going to screw with the Cajun Cowboy.
Yeah. That's what I do.
And then I brought up the lizard.
I sat over here and whatever you say, I'm like, that's crazy. That's all I do.
Try to render me speechless. Oh, God. It's good to have you back, man.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Nobody likes to listen to these when it's just me. They're just not as fun. So I will say that...
We sound like we've been drinking kombucha or something.
I have.
Okay, well.
Loaded with caffeine.
Oh, man.
I tell you what, I have had
like
some
Red Bull and vodka.
I have had some listeners ask me.
Okay.
They text me, are you doing YouTube Live? I haven't given up on YouTube Live. I was getting some new camera equipment and stuff like that. It's just been me. It's hard to do YouTube Live when it's just me, right? Because, I can't look at you and talk. I can't look at Mark and talk.
Then you got to keep the YouTube going. Then you got comments coming in.
It is hard to do. I need a producer.
I was going to say that's why people have producers.
Yeah.
And a lot of any of the big podcasts, they'll have 10, 15 people.
Yeah. Well, I am hiring for a producer. It doesn't pay anything.
All right.
But you can come hang out with me.
You'll get a producer credit.
That's right. I'll give you a bottle of water.
Put it on your IMDb.
There you go. Perfect. I did get a chance to go out and actually, there was SHOT Show came out, and there were some new guns and stuff that they announced out of there. Now, I don't know if these ones were at SHOT Show, but
Okay.
I did have a buddy stop by, Magnum stopped by, and he had a couple guns that he wanted to sight in, put some rounds through. And I was able to get my hands on the Springfield Armory Hellcat RDP. Now, this would be like the second gen of the Hellcat, pretty much, right?
Okay.
And have you ever picked up the Hellcat and
I
messed
picked
with
up
it?
the Hellcat.
What did you think when you actually grabbed the first one, the Gen 1?
I was the only one that liked it better than the SIG in the whole country because I just don't like SIGs.
Yeah,
I got a bias. Let's be honest.
it had a crappy trigger.
Yeah, so does SIG.
Not as bad as a Hellcat.
I'm used to a Canic though, so
Yeah, you and your mechanics.
they're all
Got like 58 of them.
they're all.
So I wasn't a big fan of the first gen Hellcat, and so I didn't know how I was going to feel about this one.
I always wait for the second gen.
Always. 'Cause
At least.
they work out. Well, unless
They sell it on a gimmick at first, and
They
then
bring
they
out the
start
good
improving it.
they bring out the good version.
Yeah, they have like 10, especially if it's a big seller, they'll take a gun and they'll have 10 different versions of it ready to go. And as long as it's selling hot, they'll
hold off for a couple
Yeah,
years.
they'll increase it a little bit at a time. If it's not selling that great, they'll go ahead and make it pretty good and make 3 or 4 versions.
Yeah.
But they just stealing your money.
This one came out with a red dot. It was like a package. It was what we call, there's a company called, I think it was called Hex Optics.
Okay.
I don't know much about them. I saw the red dot. It seemed okay to me. I mean, I didn't, bang it around on the ground and see how well it held up.
Right.
But the red dot seemed okay. The trigger itself, when I shot it, the trigger itself had a good crisp break on it, but it was still a heavy trigger.
Right.
Wasn't a long trigger, but it was a heavy trigger. So I think the trigger could use some improvement. I did like that it wasn't mushy though. It was a good crisp. I mean, you could almost hear it just crack, right?
Right.
And so that was kind of nice. Now this gun also comes with a compensator.
Okay.
It comes with a compensator from the factory. And when I first saw it, I was
Is
like,
this a Hellcat size? What did they change?
Hellcat size.
Okay.
And it came with this compensator. And at first I was like, that's just gimmicky. You're selling this to like the mall ninjas, the tactical type stuff, right? So I shot it, and it wasn't too bad. It didn't feel too bad. And then we realized, hey, look, we can take this compensator off. So we took the compensator off and shot it without the
What is it,
compensator.
screw in or something?
Yeah, it's got a thing,
Threaded barrel?
a button it's threaded barrel. So it's got a button you push, and you just turn it a few times, and it just turns off.
That's wow.
And so I guess in the when you buy it new, it comes with a little thread cover and all that good stuff. But we shot it without the compensator. Huge difference. That compensator actually helps that gun out like night and day. It's just like a different firearm.
So you're telling me I need to drill holes in the DB9?
That's right. Yes, we need to thread that baby for a compensator. A little bit longer barrel. But so it wasn't bad. Now, as far as how did it feel in my hand? Well, even with the extended mag, it fit my hand. But for me, the grip needs to be thicker, and it felt like the grip was all squared off. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It wasn't round and nice, and for me, it didn't seem real ergonomical. It was like flat. It was like 4 sides, flat front, flat
Well, you got to
back.
put a piece of rubber on it.
Yeah, I do. No, honestly, I do need to do that because of my whole grip issue. It's not a bad gun with the.
What do you use? Hogues?
I use Hogues or whatever I can find cheap at the store. And I usually stick them on. It's like one size fits all, and I kind of shove it on there, and then I'll heat it up, get it on there, and then I take a knife, like a razor knife, and I just kind of like cut it to fit how I want it to fit.
You know what's good about those? What is that? XD? Some people really like them, but they complain about the
safety in the back. Yeah,
I had one and I just put a Hogue on it.
you can do that.
Slid it right up there and it's disabled it.
Yep, and you could do that. I've heard of people going in like taking them out and like pinning something inside there too. But
man, I'm gonna mess something up doing that.
Yeah. So I was kind of impressed with the Hellcat. Still not for me. I don't like the grip.
Right.
The compensator, it looks gimmicky, and I think it looks silly to have a compensator on a little teeny tiny gun like that. It just looks ridiculous. But I mean, it's it's helping that small gun. It's doing what a compensator should do, right?
Right. So you can say when you see it on those big Smith & Wesson 500s, there's a reason.
Yeah, well, yeah. It looked to me like they were really trying to bank on it looks tactical, like this gun is all ready to go. It's interesting because RDP, actually, I looked up what is these acronyms. What does RDP stand for? Rapid Defense Package.
Okay.
Rapid Defense Package. I thought that was kind of interesting. But there you go. And the other one I got my hands on was
you know what RDP means?
What?
That's an extra $200.
It's exactly what I mean. I don't know what this retails for.
Okay.
But I know it's the first one that gun store got, and then Magnum ran down and picked it up.
Okay.
You heard us talk about it on the radio, and he's probably down there within an hour, I'm sure. And it wasn't too bad. So another gun that he brought was the Wilson Combat Edc 9X. Now that's it's like a 1911 platform,
Okay.
chambered in 9.
So it's not a gun that Wilson modified, it's a Wilson original.
It is I believe it's an actual Wilson. Tell you what, I don't like 1911s, and I'm going to say that was a variant on the 1911 because it was a 9mm.
Oh man!
But I'm going to tell you what, the trigger, anything Wilson Combat touches is phenomenal. That trigger, oh my gosh! I mean, you're on it, and it's just click. It is freaking fantastic. That trigger is fantastic. Now, it fit my hand really well, but it still felt like a 1911. I don't dig the 1911 grips.
Single stack?
Double stack, I believe.
Oh, that's pretty big.
I believe it was a double. Yeah, it's a double stack. Yeah. I don't like the way the grip feels on the 1911. I kind of more of a polymer type of guy. You get that metal and just all those sharp edges, and I like it for grip, but man, it just makes my hand sore.
I had a TRP, a Springfield TRP. It was, I don't know what their intention
Yeah.
was that you shoot it a few times. You got to hang on to it or it's going to shred the skin in your hand, but the more you grip onto it, the more it's shredding the skin in your hand.
You start getting like spots like on the bottom of the trigger where it like rubs, right, when you shoot it. And so I'm not a fan of that. I think that's why when I pick up that's not the only one, but it's one of my hangups with 1911s. I just don't like the way they feel when I shoot them. They're nice, they're smooth, the ones that work, right, the ones that don't jam. But they just rub points on my hand. I just don't like it.
You got to pick up a TRP to see what I'm talking about. I mean, it was
bad.
Oh man, it was.
Now is
sharp.
Is a TRP? Where is that? Is that what level of 1911 is that in that line? Mid, bottom? I don't know.
It's mid. It's $1,100-$1,200. It's nice.
I'm trying to think if there's ever been a 1911 I've picked up that I've shot that actually like doesn't rub in my hand. I don't think that there is.
I've never seen one like this. It had sharp edges.
Really?
It had points cut out all the way around the grip. I mean, it would tear your hand up.
So it
was beautiful.
You got a big heavy
shooter too.
You got a big heavy like 9.5 pound freaking handgun, and it's all just it hurts.
It was sharp. Yeah, sharp edges everywhere.
Dremel tool, buddy.
Yeah.
You're like, not on that gun.
No. It was nice though. But I mean, it was a good shooter, but it was not something you don't want to put 100 rounds through.
Right. We have I've talked about this before, and I want to bring this up again. There is a couple ladies that have taken a bunch of classes from me, and they actually took my women's shooting academy last year, and they signed up for it again this year. And about a month ago, they came over, and they had bought new triggers for their Glocks.
Yeah.
And of course. But I tell you,
don't want that trashy Glock.
Yeah, it was a horrible. They had kind of mastered them a little bit, right? They had actually bought a Mantis. They each had a Glock. They each have a Glock, and they have a Gen 1 Hellcat. But they have their Glocks, and they bought a Mantis for it. And they actually got really good on those Glock triggers. But if they didn't practice on it because of the way the Glock triggers are, they pick it up like 2 months later and just like have to start over again, right? So we did some searching around, and they bought Timney triggers. Timney makes Glock triggers now, and triggers for Glocks.
Yeah, everybody makes a trigger.
I tell you what though, phenomenal
I
triggers.
saw somebody in the gun store when I did go in, and he was holding a Glock. Well, it's just nice. I said, that's a very nice gun, but if you change everything on it.
Yeah.
He kind of just looked at me funny and put it down. You got to change everything, man.
Well, you do on those. I mean, the Glock triggers, stock triggers suck. They're absolutely horrible. These Timney triggers made all the difference in the world, though. They're nice and they're really easy, and it's just almost a full just drop-in trigger. It took me like 5 minutes.
But why don't Glock just take that trigger
because they're Glock
and make their own? And
is it because when they first came out, they were, I mean, a lot of like law enforcement maybe had them, or I mean, what was that all about? Is it because the law enforcement had it that they decided they need those heavy, stout, horrible triggers, or I mean, what is it?
They got the hype when they came out because it was a game changer. It was like, wow, this thing will run, and it'll run all day, and it'll run under any conditions.
Right.
And it is, you pull the trigger and it goes bang, and they're like, okay, we're done. And I'm like, that was 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
They don't change nothing now.
Improve it, man.
Yeah,
You got whole companies that make aftermarket products for Glock and are making millions.
And that's all they do.
Yeah, making millions. I'm like, come on, Glock.
Well, no. So Glock Store, is that Glock Store? Is that's part of Glock, right?
I don't know what Glock.
So they sell them a shitty gun, and then they get a
maybe they license it out,
and then they get them to send them back to the Glock Store where they just totally redo them.
They do that there.
I don't know. I don't know if they own, but there's a deal called Glock Store. I don't know if that's part of Glock or not.
I imagine they got to have at least paying some kickbacks to have the name Glock on.
I tell you what, the airsoft guns I have that are modeled after like G19Xs or like G17s, they're licensed by freaking Glock.
Wow.
Like, because they are besides shooting a plastic BB, they are an exact replica.
I tell you what, like this guy in the gun store, he goes in, let me see a Glock. They want the Glock.
They want the Glock. They want to be able to get it through airport security because it's plastic.
I remember that hype.
Oh yeah, that was a big deal, man.
They'll be taking down airplanes and stuff.
Yeah, because there's no metal in that gun at all.
Yeah, I'm like, a plastic gun.
Oh man. So I put a post on Facebook last night, and I don't know if I'm slipping or if I'm just getting lazy.
It's cold outside, man.
It is. So I went to town with my wife and my son last night, and I was like, I'll take my gun, I was like, I grabbed my VP9, and I still love my VP9. Mm-hmm. Grabbed my VP9, and I was like, oh, freaking, I don't know if I want to feel like, it's a full-size gun, right? And I'll be honest, I like carrying full-size guns. Is it the most comfortable thing in the world I've ever done? No, it's not. And carrying a gun should be comforting, not comfortable. That's the way I look at it, right? And sometimes it just gets old, right? Just carrying this full-size gun. Sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. So I carried a little Ruger LCR.
All right.
In 357. And I posted a picture of the gun like on Facebook, and people are like, "What the hell? Well, you're carrying a revolver? Why not carry a Hellcat?" One guy said that because he knows I don't like Hellcats. He's like, "Why don't you carry a Hellcat? It's better than that revolver."
No, it ain't.
Yeah, I know. He was joking with me, but here's the kicker. God, and I'm gonna bare my soul here.
Okay.
How do you think I carried that? You can take it. How do you think I carried that revolver?
Well, I'm going to take a shot that you just stuck it in your hoodie pocket.
No. So close.
Okay, really?
That's
what I would have done. It's all right. Put it
I was
in
afraid
hoodie,
your son is growing. I was afraid if I did that, I'd turn around to see where my son is and knock his ass out. My 8-year-old. No, I slipped it into a holster, and I was able to fit it into my front pocket, front right pocket. That was comfortable as hell. That was, and I had, the handle stuck out, but my hoodie was over it, right? Yeah. And guess what holster I used?
Uncle Mike's. Oh man, what happened to you, man?
I know. So
you be smoking pot before long.
I don't.
What's going on?
I don't really.
You damn hippie.
I don't really. No, man. As much as and Uncle Mike's is still not an approved holster by Patriot Defense.
Right.
But I have lots of holsters.
Right.
because I use them to show people what not to use. And I don't have a full on like holster
for the 357.
For the 357. I just don't.
Right.
And so when I go running, if I take it, I will use that holster because I can Velcro it in place in my running jacket pocket, right? It holds it. It's great. It fits that revolver. So it happened to just be in it. I was like, I wonder if that'll fit in my pocket.
Yes, it will.
It fit right in my pocket.
And it's comfortable. I mean, it's not the quickest.
I'm not endorsing Uncle Mike's, by the way.
It's not the fastest way to get to anything, but sometimes you just want to wear sweatpants. Sometimes you don't want to put on the top hat and the cane and go out to the store. Just put on some sweatpants. Let's be comfortable.
Most of the time, I don't want to go to the store.
Put some flip-flops on and let's go.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know. That was comfy. In fact, I've shot the gun and I can shoot it. It's not a bad shooter. And as I was carrying it around last night, I was like, I should go put some more rounds through this thing. Maybe I'll make it and I still want to shoot my VP. Maybe I'll make it my goal this year to like master the revolver.
It's a good. I have one. It's a great revolver.
I love that little thing.
And you can practice with cheap rounds and get the big killers in there for.
Yeah. So I was thinking maybe I'll try and master that. Maybe I'll try to master that and the trigger press on that revolver and get quicker. I might have been inspired. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Earlier in this week, I was watching some Jerry Michalek videos.
Okay. Yeah, that'll do it.
And I come across the clip of when he, like back in the, was it the 90s or 80s? No, I don't remember. Where he won like the world championship for like shooting 8 shots. Have you seen that video? Yeah. My God, that's impressive. Yeah. That's not that I ever, but I'm looking at him and I slowed the video down and I'm like watching his turn. I'm like I could do that. Maybe not that fast, but I can learn it, right?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's what's inspired me to carry the revolver. I've really only carried a revolver when I go running, honestly.
That dude could have a revolver and I wouldn't go up against him with an AR.
No, not at all.
And some people are like, what? If you've seen him in action, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And I'm going to throw this out there too, that one of the great places that you can watch a lot of his videos, people are going to cringe when I say this, Jerry Michalek now has a TikTok.
Ah!
And you can actually watch the clips of him shooting different. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool platform that he has, on TikTok. And you can
he's sponsored by Smith & Wesson, so I'm sure they set all that up.
But it's pretty nice. But I never thought that I'd be like, maybe I'll carry my revolver. There's nothing wrong with that revolver. That's nothing to shake a stick at, right? That thing, it'll do its job. But if I'm going to carry it a little more, I need to put some more time behind it, obviously. But it was interesting. I was just reflecting last night while I was carrying that. Why am I carrying this? Why the hell is it in Uncle Mike's holster? And why the hell did I post that on the interwebs?
But it was comfortable.
It was so comfortable.
Yeah.
It was so comfortable. All you got to do is remember when you get out of your vehicle to put your keys in your other pocket. That's all you have to do, dude. It was like...
I have thrown it in my pocket in sweatpants. I'll be walking and it's swinging. Whoosh. Oh, well.
I still do recommend, in my mind, I still recommend a holster of some kind.
Right.
For it. But I tell you what, that was nice. That was so comfortable. You could sit down. It didn't dig in. It was, and my main method of carry is appendix.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of sacrifice being made there. So, with comfort, it's not horribly uncomfortable, but it's not super comfortable either. And so it was just nice.
Yeah, you lose a couple of seconds on drawing, but
yeah. I'm thinking, though, because I got stuff in my other room over there where I'm kind of, with the help, there's a listener that is helping me. He's kind of my holster mentor.
Okay.
And I'm like, more I think about it, the more dedicated to get my press done. I got to build another press. And, I'm going to come up with a cool holster for that. I'm going to come up with a Kydex holster for my revolver. I know they make them. And if I could come up with something that's really cool that would fit in my pocket, I already have some ideas in my head.
I'll take your throwaways. I got the same gun.
Okay, especially if I master one, we'll get it figured out because
okay.
I'm going to figure this thing out because I really enjoyed carrying that stupid thing. Isn't that weird?
No.
Think I could put a red dot on that little bad boy? Yeah. Okay. Well, that was my exciting news. It was just
You're slumming.
I kind of was. I kind of was. You know, we went in to get some paint, a gallon of paint for some remodel work that we're doing in our house, and the next thing I know, I was at TJ Maxx with the wife. But it's okay. You want to know why?
Why's that?
Because I had my 357 in my pocket.
That's right.
In case shit got real over there.
What you do is next time you post it, you make a series out of it. This is a slum life. Pew pew.
That's a freaking video series, dude. I freaking love it. I absolutely love it.
You'll start putting them in your cap.
So what? And I know we've talked about what your carry gun is. You like to carry. What guns? What are guns that you've carried? This is just off the top of my brain here. What guns have you carried in the past? What oddball little guns have you carried in the past? I still like your gas station gun. I like that one.
Yeah, I've carried for a few years. I was in the search of a small firearm, and
DB9.
I carried a DB9.
Piece of shit. Freaking nemesis.
Luckily, I didn't get hurt. I had a Derringer for a little while. Remember that one?
Do you still have that?
No, I got rid of it.
Okay. That's the one you brought out to my house when I lived in Filer, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
That was fun that we shot in that log.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible though.
A little 40. It was a 45, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like an 80-pound trigger.
It really was, and it was little. So what else have you carried?
Oh man.
Any oddball? I mean, that DB. You actually carried the DB9.
Yeah, I've carried it.
How? Okay. I think I'm going to master that this summer.
Well, they make little pocket holsters for it that you shove down in your pocket. And
like sticky holsters.
Yeah, it's wide, so the holster won't come out. You got to put the holster in, and it's not, it don't pop out, so you can.
Yeah, they're sticky. They grip. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've carried that. As far as odd ones, that and the Derringer's probably the oddest small guns I've carried. I can't remember.
Have you carried any real big firearms? You're kind of about the comfort aspect of it, so you like the smaller ones to carry.
I like smaller to full size, but big guns, no. I mean, that TRP operator was a chunk of railroad iron. That was a big old heavy.
Which one is the gas station kind of get? Is that the old Ruger?
P85 or something. I don't even remember what it is.
I can't believe it. You were down where you bought that. You bought that in Louisiana, right?
Yeah.
And you bought that like you were pumping gas, and you bought it at the gas.
Yeah, I was on the way to California. I had a nice collection, and I sold all my guns, which you always regret later on.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, I'm driving all the way to California.
Bought it at a gas station.
Yeah, so I'm gassing up. I'm like, hey, let me get that gun.
give me 15 on pump 2 in the Ruger P89.
Yeah, and a couple of boxes of 45.
Oh man,
just in case.
I love that. I freaking love that story. That's like my favorite story.
Well, what's funny is it had the little display case sitting on the counter, so with the big plastic wheel at the bottom, so you spin it around.
Was it right there next to the knives?
See which one you want. I don't think it was in.
The truck stop knives.
Well, what's funny is it wasn't like there was a gun counter off to the side. It was just sitting up there.
It was a display case
by the register. Yeah, and you spin it around like, it has the big plastic wheel that sticks out at the bottom.
Right.
You turn it. Yeah, I'll take that one.
What year was this?
Oh man, what was that? It was 18 years ago.
18 years, so it's 90s.
Okay.
No, it's not. We're in 2022.
Okay.
2000, what, 2002?
4 or 5, something
4 or
like
5, African math, dude.
Yeah.
Pesticide, whatever.
18, 19 years ago. I had it
That's
out.
fun. I'm sorry. That's funny as hell. I love that. That's my favorite, one of my favorite stories you have to tell, dude, the gas station gun. Oh, man. I think, who was I talking to? I want to, God, was it Magnum? He might say, yeah, that was me, or he's going to say, that wasn't me. Someone had one of them Rugers, and they stuck it on the dash of their car, and it flew out the freaking window when they were going down the interstate, and they went back and picked it up, and the thing still ran.
Yeah.
I mean, those were heavy guns.
Yeah, it's a truck gun. It's not something you worry about.
Right.
It will go bang. I think it holds 7 rounds. Maybe 8. I don't.
Oh,
but
that's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. It was. That's Louisiana. At least it was Louisiana. Who knows what it is now?
It's a good gator gun.
Yeah. Go in there and get you some bait and a gun and some gas.
Oh man. So I'm trying to think of the classes I've done lately. So I've had lots of people calling up, getting signed up for my enhanced concealed carry permit classes, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But I started my women's group. My women's shooting academy fired up on Thursday. Now, I've got 2 classes, so I'm busy every Thursday. I've got the beginner's class, and then I have the advanced class. And a lot of the students from last year's beginners classes have upgraded to the advanced class. And so we had that was the first class we had on Thursday. And it's cool because I'm going to run them through everything that I offer in my behind closed doors class. The upgraded grip, the stance, you name it. I mean, all that stuff that I went to Arizona and learned, that's what I'm teaching them. But I really like it because they know the fundamentals, and now we're breaking this down.
Have they got even a taste of it yet?
A little bit. So
I'd want to get one of them on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm probably going to. Now, it'll be, it might be a month or so before we actually get them out. But in this class, there's a ton that we can do inside first. Mm-hmm. But we are going to ultra focus on the trigger press. They need to learn that, and they need to figure out the trigger reset. But because in the beginners classes, it seems like some of them even toward the end, it was okay, trigger press. Got to focus on the trigger press. I told them in this class on Thursday, I was we have to get past that. You guys have to be able to, you guys need to go home and you need to dry fire the crap out of this gun.
Get a Manus.
I'm
having trouble with my Manus.
You need a new one. I don't know.
Already?
I don't know.
You have seen the price on those things now?
They can buy a basic one still for $99.
That's what I need.
They got one. I just looked last week.
Okay.
But so
especially if I need another one, I'm like, look, I ain't gonna buy these every couple of years. Come on.
Yeah. So they need to go home and practice. That's what I told them. I said, you're only going to take from this class what you put into this class, and you're going to have to put in a time. You're kind of looking at it like an athlete here, right? I mean, you can show up to class, but you need to know. We're going to work for maybe a month, on trigger press, trigger reset. We'll do some live fire with it. Get that drilled into your head. Then we're going to focus on another skill and how the trigger press works with that skill. Get that dialed in, and then we're going to go to the next one. And we're not just doing one class for every skill. We're really tying them all together, but we've got to commit them to muscle memory. That's my goal with this class. And they are, I enjoyed all the women last year in my beginner's class. And it's funny because they're all in there for different reasons. Some were there to really learn. Some were there to just learn and get comfortable and be okay. And those ones, they got what they wanted, and they didn't come back, and that's fine. The ones that really wanted to progress and really wanted to learn, they're the ones that signed up for the advanced class. So you can see it in their eyes, man. They're hungry. They want to know more. In fact, I was explaining what we were going to do. One of the ladies is like, well, what else is there to do with your handgun after this? I'm like, oh man, you can shoot and move, draw, shoot and move.
Play them a video of Jerry.
Yeah, that's right. This is what you're striving for.
This is what you can do.
So
that'd make them quit. They're like, screw it, I can't do that.
Yeah. So that was pretty interesting to me, and I'm really anxious to see how dedicated they are to this. Because this is something that granted I've worked on, but this new stuff, I was force fed it in 3 days.
Right.
And so they're going to get all summer to do it, but they have to put in the time and put in the effort. And I've been telling everyone that you have to train, even if you're not on the range, right? Dry fire, sit down and say, I'm going to do 30 dry fires every day, right before I go to bed, right? Whatever, right? 30 dry fires. And when you dry fire, you can do what? You can practice your grip. You can practice a holster draw. You can practice your stance. You can practice your sight picture. Maybe that's when you work on keeping both eyes open, and and shooting that way, dry firing that way. So much you can do at home.
And get a Manus. I can't tell you how important that is for trigger pull.
No, Manuses are spectacular. Yeah. I've seen them change people's entire shooting lives or whatever.
I've gotten to where I'll hit 97, 98 consistently on it.
Yeah.
And I'll get out to shooting, and I get back in those sloppy.
Yeah. Got to slow it down.
And I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing. And
weed that excitement out.
Yeah, well, you just, you get the bang, bang. And, all right, calm down. And I know what I'm doing because the Mantis taught me. And then you bullseye, bullseye, bullseye,
it is.
bullseye, bullseye.
The way to do it.
Shit.
It's amazing, and I tell everyone it's in the freaking. Most of it's all on that trigger press.
But you don't understand how much is in that trigger press
don't.
until you put that Mantis on, and it says you like 3 inches away from the bullseye.
Yeah, and
it's like whoa.
And one of the good, and you could use the Mantis, and another cool way of doing it too. If you don't have a Mantis, I think Mantis is one of the best ways, right? Because there's all this feedback. It's kind of gamey, but you can actually take an empty 22 shell and put it on your gun, balance it on the gun, and if you move, that freaking thing's falling off. And that's another good way. You got to have to run around the house and pick up the empty 22 shell all the time.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
I was like, how in the hell do you do that? You dry fire.
You balance it and you dry fire it, right? It's going to let you know if you move or not. But man, so I tell everyone on the trigger press, there's 3 parts to the trigger press, especially like on a semi-automatic striker-fired gun. That's what we're talking about right now, okay? You have the slack or the take-up. We call the slack and the take-up, and that's the movement before you get to the wall. Then you have the wall, and then you add pressure to the wall until the trigger breaks, and that's where the gun fires. So take your time, and you can, slow as smooth as fast. You take up the slack, you get to the wall, and some people get to the wall, and then they pull.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Well, they're waiting for that boom.
They're waiting for the boom.
And what's good about the Mantis is you can dry fire until you get that down, and then you can live fire with the Mantis.
Yes.
Because that's what you'll do. You'll put the rounds back in there, and then you...
you go crazy again.
And what's crazy is you can spend a lot of time, and it's easy to slip back into that.
Oh, it is. Very much so. What I tell people is when they get to the wall, you're not pulling, you're not even pressing. You're just adding pressure, steady pressure, even pressure to that finger till that trigger breaks. I try to get the pull and the press word out of people's brains. You're take up the slack, find the wall, and just adding pressure. So what that's going to turn into is just one movement over and over, same pace. It becomes smooth. It becomes fast.
That's one thing that's good about revolvers too. You get I don't know how the new ones are, but you get those older Smiths on single action. Man, those are nice triggers.
Oh yeah, they are.
They break like glass.
Like glass. So
crack. It's like, gee.
Oh yeah, a good revolver is especially Smith & Wesson.
Yeah. Matter of fact, you better spend some time or you'll shoot somebody.
Oh yeah.
It ain't ready. Oh man.
So, trigger press. That's what I'm telling everyone to look for.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of good. Those are lots of good topics that we talked about there. But we have like a main topic, and some of you may have heard me talk about some of these. But there's a listener to the program, subscriber. He wanted me to talk about. He asked me one day. He's like, "What have you seen in class? What are the craziest things you've seen, or what are some of the things that you've seen in class?" With students, with whatever, that just made you shake your head and go, what in the heck am I looking at here, right? I used to get a lot of people coming through these classes, a lot of different types of people. And typically I'm not going to talk about them, but yeah, it's been a little while now. I think I can bring them up, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Showed up in Hawaiian shorts and a straw hat, looked like the Hawaiian Punch guy.
Almost. Almost. So I've had a few, and I think I've talked about this guy, and I don't even. This student. This was quite a while ago, but he.
Have no fear, we will name no names.
No, I don't even remember names. So he showed up on a bicycle, which is fine.
Oh yeah,
ride a freaking bike. I don't care. He rode a long way on his bicycle to get here, and
like 40 miles or something.
Yeah, he parked his bike out in front. And that's cool. You don't have a vehicle. You can't drive. You whatever. You showed up. Man, that's freaking dedication.
Yeah.
It's dedication.
Well,
right?
dedicated to me. Yeah.
This guy, I forget what gun he was shooting, but he was well armed. And we went out on break, and everyone's gathered around, like looking at his bicycle. And he's giving him a tour of his bicycle. And I'm like, what is going on? I go out there. That dude has a stun gun strapped to a holster in his bicycle, on like clamped to the outside of his bicycle.
Tactical bike.
He's got like a pepper ball gun on a holster on his handlebars of his bike. I've never seen such a thing in my life. And even the law enforcement guy that left here, he's like, what the what the heck is going on?
What kind of neighborhood you driving through, man?
So
if it's that bad, you need a car, man.
Yeah. So That was one of the, but here's the thing. The guy rode a long way on his bike.
Yeah, he did.
And so I'm going to give kudos to him for being prepared. I mean, so if he was riding his bike and he drove along.
That was in winter, wasn't it? I'm thinking that was in.
It was fall, maybe.
Strange, like adverse conditions.
Yeah. He drove
through, and I'm like, wow.
He rode a long way to get to the main town. And then from there, he still had 14 miles to my house. And you're on your bicycle. There's a good chance things are going to chase you. Freaking dogs, right? Kudos. He had less than lethal force. He didn't have a gun to shoot it. He had a gun, but he had different options, right? The dogs come and hit him with a pepper ball.
Yeah, I don't quite get that.
Stun them babies. I don't know. I'm trying to look at the bright side here.
I don't know.
That was an interesting thing that happened. That was an interesting bike I've never seen. It was like an apocalypse bike or something.
Okay. Who knows how much he spent on that rig?
I don't think he spent a whole lot on the bike. I
Okay.
think the stun gun was probably cost more than the bike did.
All right.
But so that's something interesting that I have seen. I had in class, I get all different kinds of people in the class, and that's fine. And we have people that show up and they want to, and I'm friendly to everybody, right? You have the people, and I've been to classes like this. You have your people that are like really super friendly with the instructor. You know what I'm talking about? Like you get a break and they're up talking to the instructor, and that's cool. I don't mind that. I'll talk to anybody. This guy and they always offer to help, and I'll take your help. You want to set up chairs? Yeah, you set up chairs. You want to help me staple targets? You're damn right you can help me staple targets. I don't want to do this crap by myself. There was one gentleman. He liked his knives. He had a ton of knives on him, right? And he had a neck knife. And he went into great detail telling me about how he was like a master in knives. And what did he say? He knows like some kind of like martial art. I don't even know what it was. And he didn't really need a gun. And it was very interesting. So we get some colorful people in class sometimes.
Okay.
His neck knife was huge too.
He was shooting at the targets though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of gun did he have?
I don't even remember. This was quite a while.
The knife stuck out.
The knife stuck out. I mean, because it's not very often you talk to someone, they got a freaking 6-inch, freaking neck knife.
There's a reason people don't carry swords anymore.
Because they can carry a neck knife.
Well, they make guns.
That's right. I will say I was at D&B Supply earlier this week.
Okay.
And they've got in their knife section, by the way, something that I saw when they first opened that store, and they disappeared for a long time. I think I almost want to go buy like 2 of them. They're about 1.5 feet long. Freaking broadsword.
Okay.
They got 2 broadswords, dude.
18-inch broadsword, huh?
I want to freaking dual wield those things.
I'm going to save you a lot of money.
Yeah? Do you have one?
Get a machete.
Get a machete?
$10. Hacks people to death.
These are cool. This is like both sides, man.
There's countries that they just hack people to death with machetes, and it costs $10 at Walmart.
Do you have a machete?
Yeah, I got a few of them.
Sweet.
It's cheap, man. And if you need to cut something, you don't care about it. It's a $10 machete.
I'll go check it out.
Just go hack it
I
up.
need me a good blade.
That's Walking Dead stuff, man.
It is. I
Now,
love.
if you want a good blade, I can tell you where to go, but you're gonna spend $1,000 at least.
Yeah, I don't want to spend that. I
Okay.
don't. No, I don't even spend that on a. I don't even spend that on a gun. I want something I can freaking use and then like lop an arm off and throw it in the ditch.
Yeah, get a machete.
Cool.
Because if you get a nice blade and you ding it up, you're gonna be like, oh man.
That's kind of like getting the $10 machete is kind of like having the drop gun. You know what?
It's like buying a Glock. You don't know it works, and I don't care about
use
it.
it in the alley, throw it in the dumpster. Oh shoot. Okay, so I get a lot of know-it-alls in class.
Okay.
You ever get a lot of those? I mean, you've been around know-it-all people, right?
If I say no, then I'm probably the know-it-all.
It's true. I get a lot of know-it-alls. Let me tell you how to do this. Well, and I'm not picking on military, but I was in the military and I did this. Those guys, some of those guys are the worst ones for safety. The know-it-alls are the worst ones for safety. Not just the ex-military guys, but the know-it-alls are the worst ones for safety. They're the ones that do what? They put their thumb behind the freaking slide.
Well, it's a whole different world too. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have a group of people. This This ain't what we. It's a different training environment here.
Yeah. So we get a lot of thumb behind slides, usually with the know-it-alls. We get a lot of weird, oddball grips. And like I said, I support the military, but just because you've been in the military doesn't mean you can shoot a handgun. Doesn't mean you know everything about it. And you need to listen to me. So some of these know-it-alls, not just them, but know-it-alls in general, they don't listen. They don't take instruction.
Well, what they forget is they look at you like some of them. I've done this and I've done that. I'm like, that's a completely different skill set.
Yep.
That's not. You're not. This ain't Baghdad.
Yeah.
We're training a whole different thing, a whole different way, a whole different weapon.
This is
it's
the
a
magic,
different thing.
This is the Walmart walk. This is Wally World.
Yeah. But it's different rules of engagement. It's different tactics. It's different. We don't have a 10-man team that's walking out here with rifles. It's not the same. It's a different thing. Just respect it for what it is.
Yep. There you go. Okay. That was well said. I did have, as I'm training people and they're taking the concealed carry permit classes, I don't make the final call on who gets the permit. I don't run the backgrounds. I don't do the fingerprints, right?
Right.
They come in here, and if they can demonstrate that they're safe, then that's my, criteria. Then I sign them off and send them to the county or to the sheriff's department. Now, if they demonstrate that they're safe, but they throw some red flags, like they just seem a little off, because I've had those too, then I give them their paperwork and I let the sheriff's department know who they are. This guy's coming through. This is make your judgment. Do whatever you have to do, right? But I have there was a gentleman coming in here, and he was a good guy, and this is a two-part story. He was rocking the freaking high point. He was rocking the high point, and this dude was he was really excited about the fact that he was ex-merchant Marines.
Yeah, high points. How many did he have?
He had 2. Wow. And his buddy that was with him had one.
You could have bought a good gun for 2.
Oh, yeah. So he had this high point, and he showed up early, like 45 minutes early to class. And I'm okay with being punctual and being a little 45 minutes. Come on, man. It's pretty early, right?
Somebody wandering around out there.
Yeah, I let him in the classroom, and I'm trying to set up everything, and he reaches in his pocket, and he pulls out a High Point magazine, and it was loaded. I can't remember what caliber. Was it 9? Probably 9. It was all loaded. This is great. It was all loaded, and he's like, "Oh, I forgot that was in my pocket." And I'm like, keeping an eye on him, and he starts talking to me. And you know how people will load a magazine and they'll wrap it on their hand or whatever to like make sure everything's seated in. You don't even really have to do that, but they do it anyway. This guy takes this. He's talking to me, and I don't know if he thought he was like being cool or what. He takes it and he starts wrapping it on his hand to seat everything. Freaking thing exploded. The back popped off. Freaking springs and 9mm rounds went spraying all over the classroom. It was very entertaining. And he was a good guy.
And he was happy with his high points.
Oh, he loved his high points. Really? And in fact, the gunslinger is not here today, but the gunslinger sold him those guns. And he took the class, a little goofy. He listened, okay. He demonstrated he was safe. Besides,
how old was he? Was he a young guy?
No, older guy.
Really?
Yeah, probably 60s.
With high points.
Yep. And but here's the thing. So you always wonder about people. Like, what are people's past? What are they going to do? Who are they? Right? Who am I training?
Yeah, those are extremely disposable guns.
Yeah. Who am I
you
training?
Shoot somebody and throw it away.
Who am I training? And I obviously don't condone this at all, but it was about a month and a half later. I am on my phone. I'm flipping through Facebook, looking at the local news, and I'm like, wait, that guy looks familiar. And it was a mugshot. And I'm like, why does he look familiar? Why does that guy look familiar? And I went in and I was talking to the gunslinger, stopped by where he works, because I always go in there and talk to those guys. And I'm like, why does this guy look familiar? And the gunslinger, Mark looks at him and he's all, I don't know, he looks familiar. I was like, that name. I know that, I don't remember the name now, but I know the name. And I went back, looked at my list. Sure enough, that was that guy. It was that guy whose High Point magazine came apart in the class and threw bullets everywhere. Got arrested for having pictures of underage youth he should not have.
Okay.
So it's very
There's a
interesting.
lot of that going on.
There's a lot of that going on lately, right?
What's wrong with people, man?
Yeah. So my thing is you never know, right? You never know who you're going to have in class.
You never know, but you can always, there's something off about this person.
Well, he
It's
wasn't.
like something ain't right.
So,
And then later on you find out something like that.
he wasn't. Yeah. I mean, he wasn't like creepy off. He was just weird.
Yeah, something's just not, it's not,
He's not all
2
there.
plus 2 ain't coming to 4 in there. Something ain't right. There's something in the mix that just ain't where it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
So I mean, you run into all kinds of people. Now there is another. This is probably one of the more funny ones. I got two more examples, and
Okay.
then we'll be done with this. I've had people show up and they question my methods. This wasn't the funny one. I'm going to rearrange these.
Pull out your glove and smack them across the
Yeah,
face.
they do. Then
Throw it to the ground.
And so here's the thing: if I'm doing something that's unsafe, question me, right? This guy was nice. He wasn't horrible,
Right.
But she showed up, and he was having, and if he's listening, he might know who he is. I'm not going to say his name, and we're actually really good friends now. We talk all the time,
Right.
and they had a relative come in from like out of town.
Right.
And they're like, we want to get him signed up for a gun class. He's never really shot before, and I didn't even live here yet. This was the very beginning, and he showed up, and the guy shows up, and I put him through the class, and this guy's uncle, who I'm friends with now, is there, and he's like, wow, anyone can shoot that close. Why do you shoot? And I was explaining, he's a new shooter. You don't want to get too far back, and it's harder to shoot, and you got to get these, and you can move back. And the guy's like, well, anyone could shoot that close. So I looked at him. I said, I can shoot that far away. I mean, do you want to see? Yeah, you can't. Yeah, he was like, this is too far for you. You shoot close. So I got everyone to move back, and I was back. I was back quite a ways, right? 25, 30 feet. And I shot I went ahead and shot, and I freaking, shot pretty good. I'm an okay shooter. And what was cool about it is the guy saw me, he goes, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He looked at me. He's a big old gruff guy. He's like, you're all right. You know what I'm saying? But it was kind of cool. But I've had a lot of people question my methods in other ways too. And it's like, if you're paying for the class, don't come question me. Listen to me. You come here to learn, right? Ask questions if you have them, but don't say, what are you doing? Don't do that. That's not right. Don't.
It's a lot harder to
do
tell
that.
what you're doing wrong further out.
Oh, yeah. A lot
Get up
harder.
close, get the fundamentals, and then back up some.
Right.
But
So, okay, this is the best. This has got to be the best one. This has got to be the best one. And if Magnum, if James is listening, and I'm trying to think if Henry was here helping me that day, he'll know exactly who I'm talking about. This guy shows up. He comes into class late. He has got a jacket on that says security on it.
uh-oh.
And he comes in and he's got a freaking like a utility belt, like law enforcement.
Right.
I mean, complete with handcuffs and everything on his freaking waist. On his waist. He's got his gun holstered, his magazines. I mean, this guy looks official except for the big security, right?
Right.
He didn't look like law enforcement, but he came in maybe portraying that. And he comes blaring into class late. And he sits down. And I guess at one point, and I try to keep an eye on everyone, but sometimes I get to talking to people and I get to like looking around.
Right.
And at one point, he like freaking drew his gun. Like my rule in my class is, if you come in and you have a holstered firearm, leave it holstered, right? And I've never had a problem with that. If they're in their case, we do not touch our firearms, whatever. Some people, and most people, everyone's been really good. Everyone. This guy like pulled it out just straight up and then like put it back down in there. I didn't catch that. I guess one of my helpers did, right? Mm-hmm. But we went out to shoot. And this guy thought he was Johnny Law, Quick Draw, McGraw. I'm serious, dude. When I do my, it's sweet. The first 50 rounds is slow shooting. Take your time. This dude, we stand at tables. This dude would he had his gun, and I made him take it out. I said, "You're not drawing your freaking gun out of the holster. You need to set it on the table with everyone else. So the guns are on the table. His gun, the slide is locked back. Magazine is out. Magazine is loaded, but it's out of the gun, laying next to the gun. And I'd say, explain what the drill was. Nice, slow, aimed fire. 7 rounds. Take your time. Let's work on everything. You know, range is hot, fire and ready. This dude it was like he was trying to win some kind of like Jerry Michalek world challenge. He grabbed the gun, slammed the freaking magazine home, racked the slide, and then he would do a shooting stance. He would drive that gun out, drop low into a shooting stance, and bang, 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 bang. But it was the and this is actually rather recent. This is like the end of last year.
There's some classes that you go to and they expect that kind of crap.
This guy was not good.
Okay.
he was. Other students were looking at me.
Yeah, I get nervous. Hey, man, you slow down.
Yeah, I went up and said, do you need to slow down? You can't do it that.
No.
Yeah, of course, he wasn't going to listen. And he did it a few times. And I'm like, he didn't even know what he was doing, to the point where he was right-handed. He was pulling the trigger with his freaking middle finger.
Wow.
Because he was so quick.
Just whatever falls in the hole.
Oh my God, dude. It was freaking amazing.
Wow.
And then I'm standing there and
whatever gets in there.
I've talked to him. He starts trying to give the students next to him advice.
No.
And I'm like, no.
I don't want to shoot like you, bro.
Don't talk. Just listen.
Yeah.
Don't talk. Just listen. And I think I motioned to one of the guys, one of my helpers. I was like, I'm going to stay by this guy. This guy makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
So I said, slow down. Stay on the line. Because he kept trying to drop back, like fade back. I'm like, you don't do that.
No.
Stay on the line.
And he's trying to be fast. Oh, man.
Oh, we haven't even, this is better. You haven't even heard anything yet. So we did this. We got through the first 50 rounds. They have to shoot 100 rounds or 98 rounds. We start to speed up the second 50.
Right.
So he tries to go freaking faster.
Man.
And then he starts doing his own drills. His own drills.
Was it an actual drill or just something he made up?
Oh, something he made up.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, we have drills.
Right.
But he was like, I don't know where he was.
Nothing you've ever seen before.
No. So the magazine, the gun, and he would...
You got to do the shoulder roll.
He'd stand there like this with his hands freaking ready.
What?
Yeah.
Good grief.
And I say, Rangers hot, fire ready. And
by the way, you standing like a cowboy with your hands.
Yeah. Like, who's that Looney Tunes character?
Yosemite Sam?
Yosemite Sam, right?
Yeah.
And he would like, he'd reach that gun, bang, bang, bang. Oh, he's like slamming the magazine home, freaking racking the slide, firing with his middle finger still.
Good grief.
And I'm not kidding.
He's going to shoot himself.
Bang, bang. He's got 7 rounds. Bang, bang, bang. Then he drops to his knee. He drops to one knee and shoots over the table. Bang, bang, bang. And whoa, what the hell are you doing?
Those kind of guys scare me.
Oh, my God.
He's trying to impress somebody. It's like, oh, man, somebody's going to get hurt.
Oh, dude, it was absolutely horrible. I got to the point where I was getting like a little brutal with the guy. I was like getting a pretty, no, we don't freaking do that. We do not do that.
Not here. Not on this range.
And so I got him to slow down, and toward the end, and we got done, and he had another gun that he had bought. It was a freaking 40 cal, and he wanted to shoot this gun. And I said, yeah, but he was getting annoying at this point. Right. Some people ask sometimes, I got this new gun. Can I take a couple shots with it after class?
Right.
Yes, you can. But someone has to be on the range, and either all the other students need to be off the range and like gone, or they have to be in the classroom. So typically what I tell them is, you need to wait till everyone leaves until I can be out there with you. You can't just stand, especially him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, but... Was it James or Henry? I can't remember. One of these guys, and they didn't yell at me afterwards, but they told me they didn't appreciate what I did. So I was out there, and the guy was on my case, and he went up to them and like, well, can I shoot this? Can I shoot this? And they're like, go talk to Todd. And he came to talk to me, and I'm like, no, you have to freaking wait. You've got to wait. So, and this kid was annoying. So everyone got inside the classroom, and I looked at like Henry or James or both of them, and I said, "He wants to shoot. Stay out here with him."
I keep my hand on my firearm.
So
I might have to return fire on this guy.
They were not happy with me. They're like, "Todd, son of a, what did you do?" And they said that he like had this gun out and he was going real fast with it. And then he would like, he said he tried to like put it like in his holster, and he's like freaking pointing the gun at himself the entire. I'm like, this guy is just a mess, just an absolute mess. Come to find out, you know, he works for a security company, and I talked to some of my friends in the local law enforcement, and they're like, oh yeah, we know the company that he works for, and those guys are always like trying to act like they're cops. And so it's pretty interesting, but he by far was, I'm like, what little hair I have, I'm like, ugh. This guy, I don't know what class he thought he signed up for, but he wasn't doing any of the drills.
That's an unteachable.
Oh my god!
Like,
oh my
dude,
gosh.
you need to go.
Yeah, it was. That was a mess. That was.
Yeah, it sounds like a mess.
No one who's listening, don't think this is like typical class for me, because I've gone many years and had like one of him, right? But when you walk in with your freaking Batman law enforcement utility belt and you actually got full on cuffs, I mean, you got
unless you come in from work,
you've got a pocket for a radio. I mean,
right.
You're like, yeah. I wanted to see if you had like a siren.
Did they do local security? Okay.
I wanted to see if he had a siren that he'd slap on the top of his car. Maybe I wasn't outside. Maybe he came rolling into the parking lot sideways. Just I'm late.
I have seen those, and it's like they wanna. It's like, bro, you watching too much TV, man. Stop.
Oh my god,
calm down.
It was amazing. The whole thing was just amazing to watch. I was like, and that's the time. I've actually thought about recording all my classes before. And that was the one time I was like, man, I wish I had a freaking camera out here. Man, I wish I had recorded this thing.
Well, for
insurance purposes.
Yeah, I was going to say, for insurance and
Yeah.
security reasons, it wouldn't hurt to have a couple of cameras just pointed at the range.
Yeah, and I should. I've got the perfect place for them. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it'd be perfect. But I would have loved to rewatch that. You'd get a kick out of it, too. Looked like maybe he was being trained.
It sounds stressful.
It
sounds more stressful than funny.
You know, a VODA trained person would have been less stressful.
That dude's still around?
I haven't heard, you know,
Well, the internet went crazy for this new kung fu guy who's taking guns away. I know you've seen him.
Oh my gosh, that Detroit threat management guy. we can touch on him for a second. We need to do a whole episode on this dude.
That dude is amazingly psychotic.
Have you seen the memes that they're making about that guy, as far as like making fun of him, and like they're like, people will make videos. Like one of the best ones is he's like, it shows him like,
didn't work.
this is in your car, you know, someone comes up to your window with your car and you're supposed to, and they will replay that. They'll be in their car and someone comes up with a gun and they reach up to try to do it, and all of a sudden you see him up in heaven. That's great. So I don't know. There's also a karate guy, Master Ken. You ever seen Master Ken? Master Ken actually.
Oh yeah, he's it's a joke, though.
He's purposely doing that, right? So Master Ken.
He's funny.
Master Ken did it. Stomp the groin, re-stomp the groin. Master Ken did a video with Detroit Threat Management.
You seen the Coleon Noir interviewed him?
The threat management guy?
Yeah.
Oh, no. So is the threat management guy serious?
Yeah, he is. And Coleon Noir is interviewing him for like an hour, and the skills that man has not to break out laughing is amazing. This dude is serious.
I'm going to check it out, because when they did their combo, their combo,
it's sad.
It acts like you can't tell if the Detroit Threat Management guy is serious.
Yeah.
Or if he's trying to be at that
part
point,
of the joke,
or he's trying to be like Ken, but Master Ken, but with firearms.
No, this dude's serious. Watch the Coleon Noir. He's serious.
It had to be just recent. I'll have to look it up.
I've been busy for a month, so it ain't too recent.
I gotta check it out, because that guy is freaking.
Oh, he's awful.
That guy's hilarious, dude.
He's awful. He's the modern day Ashita Ken.
He's horrible. He's
gonna get people killed. Oh, he's insane.
Oh.
And he believes his own hype. It's sad. It's sad.
So I'm gonna do a little research.
You saw the guy who wouldn't play along,
yeah,
and kept backing up. He kept reaching for his gun. This guy's like, "What if I don't give it to you?" He's like, "All right, don't give it to me." And he reaches for him, and he just backs up. And he reaches for him, he just backs up. And he's like, he does it like 3 times. Like, well, you're not doing it right.
He's like, I could have shot you dead already
10 times.
I'm gonna do a little research. We could probably dedicate an entire podcast to that dude.
I think we got one of his customers.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Doing that road rage.
Oh man. Oh, we didn't talk about road rage. Let's talk about that. This is gonna be an little extra long podcast. We got a few more minutes.
Yeah, a couple minutes. We'll make it short. Ain't too much to say. It's amazing to watch.
The road rage incident in Florida.
That's in Florida.
I think it was it Florida?
That's even worse.
Yeah, it was I believe it was like Miami-Dade or Miami, somewhere down there.
Man.
It's in Florida. And you can see you can see the video. So this guy is driving down the road, he gets cut off. But first of all, let me ask you this. So they're using his own video against him. So when most people drive, they have a dash cam. The dash cam does what? It faces out.
Yeah.
No. This faces right at the guy driving.
Right.
It's facing inward. Who does that, and why do you do that? This guy's
Unless it's a company vehicle, I can't imagine.
This guy's driving down the interstate, and he's singing. And
Now wait a minute. What is his profession?
He is, I believe, he's a fire inspector.
Okay, so he works for the local fire department.
Yes.
Volunteer. Or?
It didn't say. It just said he's a fire inspector. I think he's probably not volunteer, but he's driving down the road and he cuts somebody off. And when he cuts somebody off, it's like he knows what he's doing, right? He cuts him off, and then you can see him like look in the mirror and mumble, mumble some curses at him, and because the guy honks at him or does something, right? And meanwhile, after he cuts the guy off, he mumbles, he like curses, and then if you look at him, it looks to me like he slows down, like he's like on purpose, right, to piss this guy off even more.
Right.
And then he speeds up and he takes off. And as he's going down the road, you see him, he's looking in his mirror, he's looking in his side mirror and his rearview mirror, and he
starts reaching in the armrest.
And he opens up the armrest, moves a bunch of stuff, and he's watching in his mirror, and I imagine this guy's like pissed. Yeah. This guy's coming up on him.
Probably gonna flip him off or something.
The car gets close, and you hear a pow. And what happened is the other car driver threw a water bottle at his car.
Okay.
He says he thought he was being shot at. Okay.
So what does he do?
He pulls a gun out of his freaking console, his armrest, pulls the gun out, and 11 shots. Bah, 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 bah.
Well, first he slowed down.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So he could get a shot on the guy because he's in fear for his life.
Right.
So he slows down.
And he's like, bah, bah, bah. 11 shots.
Not one shot went where he wanted it to go.
He's doing 70 miles an hour.
The gun it looks like a bullwhip.
Yeah.
He is whipping it up and down, has no control. When it fires, it's recoiling like he's got a 50 cal in his hand.
And he shoots out the side window. He shoots through the front window. You can see he's probably shoots through the A pillar of the stupid car. 11 rounds. And then he dials 911.
Okay.
And he gets on there and says, I've been shot at.
Insane.
I'm like, so here's the thing. You're in a vehicle. First of all, don't do that shit.
No.
Okay. And he knew what he was doing. I mean, he cut the guy off, then he slammed on his brakes, and he took off. Should the other guy have thrown a water bottle at him? Probably not. But the guy saw him coming. He slowed down.
He might have had it coming, but you shouldn't do it.
But there's a little bit of pre-planning there, right? You're in a vehicle. What do? Skinny pedal, man.
Yeah.
Throttle out. When in doubt, throttle out.
Yeah. Speed up, dial 911. Say, hey, I think I've been shot at.
This guy slowed down and waited for a good shot.
And then had no control over his gun.
No.
None. Had no control over his gun arm.
No.
He was just slinging it up and down. God only knows what he hit. He's probably shooting birds and fire hydrants.
11 rounds. Where'd it go? I can imagine a big 6-lane interstate, right? I mean,
hopefully it had those big sound barriers like California does that they build up along the highways.
Right.
So that would catch a lot of it. But I have never seen shooting quite like that.
And they're prosecuting with his own video. That's the best part.
What was his name? Do we have his name? Tell people to look it up. It was on the Daily Mail.
I
found it and sent it to you. I'm like, oh man, this dude is something.
Let me look here.
Okay. I have never seen shooting like that. I have no idea what's going on in his mind where he thinks that's going to be a legitimate self-defense story.
Okay, let me see here.
I mean, he called the cops. They took his video.
Eric Popper.
Eric Popper. Look up Eric Popper,
he's
everybody.
30 years old. This actually happened back in June.
Okay.
But it's now just making like he's being prosecuted or whatever. Dash cam. His own dash camera, dude. That's insane.
I have never. What goes through your mind to think this? All right, I'm in fear for my. That's the people that think all they got to do is say I'm in fear for my life, and it's like,
yeah.
You slow down, bro.
What's awesome is I'm not awesome. What's interesting is he does it without any like. It's just like a natural thing for him.
Yeah,
like there's no thought. There's
son of a bitch. This is what's coming to
I'm
you.
going to slow you down. I'm going to slow down and shoot at you next. It's
all right.
I'm trying to look at the article, see if we left anything out. He says who allegedly, he can be seen waiting for the other driver. We slowed down and waited for the other driver.
Unbelievable.
Who was allegedly gesturing at him several times to go past him.
But some people think that
before he fired 11 times at him.
Unbelievable.
Freaking hell.
Didn't hit a thing.
No. 7 a.m. Let's see. Popper was a civilian fire inspector working for the Miami Beach Fire Department. He turned himself in.
Unbelievable.
And here's my video, too.
Well, he thought that was going to be legitimate. That's
Well, they don't even know. His hearing is not even set till April. He could serve 15 years in prison if he was found guilty. He's actually out on. He was bonded. He's out on bond.
Okay.
Faces felony.
That is a dangerous fella. They need to.
It's just this whole thing is fascinating.
I've never. What's so fascinating is I've never seen somebody that crappy with a gun. It's just awful. It's awful. And the mentality to think that this is gonna be a self-defense scenario.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no, bruh, no. Where do you think that? Where do you think that?
Well, they threw a water ball at his car.
Yeah, I thought it was a gun. I thought it was a gunshot.
You can't just because you have a gun doesn't mean you have to use it, right? I mean, you're in a 5,000.
He didn't think he was
weapon.
being shot at, or you wouldn't slow it down.
He was being cocky. That's what it was. He cut the guy off. The guy honked at him because he cut him off. He cussed at the guy. He slammed on his brakes. You can see the video, like the car slow way down.
Right.
And so which pissed that guy off even more. And then when he pissed that guy off, he slammed on the gas. He obviously knows how to use the throttle. Pulled ahead. Then he sees that guy racing like mad to catch up with him. The guy chucks a freaking water bottle, hits his car with a pop. He then uses that as excuses, I'm being shot at. But you can see him getting his gun out. He gets his gun out, holds it down, and then he slows down, waiting for the guy to get up next.
He's prepping for it. It's like
if someone's legitimately shooting at you, and you're afraid for your life, do you let them like come up beside you in the vehicle?
No.
You get the hell out.
I'm gonna get out. Yeah.
Take an exit. Speed up. Do something. It's freaking phenomenal, dude.
It's truly insane.
I almost laugh at it when I see it. The video's great.
But it's sad at the same time.
It is.
That's the way this man's brain. This is his top functioning abilities.
Yeah.
And it's all shit. It's all shit. There's nothing that works right in your head, man.
Freaking Florida, man.
It's all trash. It's like that's you in a quote unquote. Well, it was a life and death moment when you firing 11 rounds, but there's no. It's another one of those brains that 2 + 2 ain't coming out to 4. It's not working right. Something's wrong in there, man.
Yeah, the whole thing is absolutely just amazing.
And you're 30. You're old enough.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Unbelievable. So that'll be good. That'll be a good story to leave tonight. We had an extra long podcast tonight. It's freaking fantastic.
Yeah, we had
a
couple long ones.
I had some short ones for a while. It happens.
I ain't have one for a while.
So real quick though, we got to finish up here. So I just want to thank everyone for checking out for listening to the Patriot Defense Podcast. Thanks you to all the subscribers. I want to thank you to all the Patreon members. So we did a drawing. I've talked about it a few times. A drawing from the Patreon members. We drew for a Patriot membership to Front Sight. Well, little did I know that Front Sight reorganized some stuff, and I had a little bit of trouble. I'm going to let everyone know, all the Patreons know. Had a little bit of trouble getting that membership to Quincy. Quincy is the one that won it. So for his troubles, I went ahead and upgraded from a Patriot to a Legacy lifetime membership.
Okay.
Thing's worth depending on all the classes you can take, the thing's worth like $50,000.
Wow.
Yeah, so I upgraded Quincy to that.
You could have just gave me $50,000.
Yeah, I know. I only had 50 to give away, man. You're out of luck. You didn't sign up as a patron. So Quincy gets going to go down there, check out some classes down there, as many classes as he wants. He's going to report back to us. Let us know how his trip was.
Did they not allow that to transfer anymore?
They had some inner working restructuring is what they did. And so they upgraded some stuff and they made it a little harder. I had to call and go through a bunch of stuff, and poor Quincy had to wait like a week.
It was worth it.
It was worth it. Yeah. Oh yeah. He got the better deal out of that. So I went ahead and flexed a little muscle and got a little.
Don't make me come down there.
Yeah, that's right. Don't make me come down there. And we got it figured out for him. But we had a new someone sign up for Patreon this week. It was Bob W. That's what I saw on Patreon. I didn't get your last name. It didn't show up on my phone. But thanks for joining. And I have been doing videos every Saturday. Didn't get them out today. I'll get some videos out tomorrow. I was trying to get this new camera equipment. I'm all professional in here now.
I see that. Look at you.
I had to get some camera equipment stuff all figured out, so I had to throw up some more videos there. But if you if you want to join Patreon, it's $5 a month. Go ahead. I leave the link in the show notes. If you don't want to do that, I understand that as well. But just like and subscribe, share the podcast. That'd be fantastic. If you got any questions or comments, you can call me. You can text me. Area code 620-794-6223. It's area code 620-794-6223. In the next couple of weeks, I'll be coming out with a whole list of classes and schedules for the summertime. So if you're in the area and you want to take some classes, check that out. If you want to travel into town, the big town of Buell, and you want to take some classes, stay at our nice, lush
I'm waiting for it. What?
Paradise Hotel in this town. You can do that as well. That'd be fantastic. But anyhow, I appreciate all the support. Thank you, Cajun Cowboy, for it's been a while. We need to get you back here more often.
I couldn't get mine done today, so I'm going to go do one somewhere.
Perfect. We appreciate it. And then everyone, I'll see you guys next weekend. Have a great week. Bye.